What is going on, everybody? It's Brian from Brian Loves Bonsai. I am back today with another video. I'm going to be styling this multi-trunk tiger bark ficus that I picked up recently. This is like I said, a ficus microcarpa. This is the tiger bark variation. This is going to be my first styling. You can see some of the branches are slightly downwardly oriented, so I wouldn't really count that as a styling, but when I usually get my trees, I like to get the main structural parts wired kind of downward and get that bend into the branches, because the thicker that they get, the more difficult that it's going to become to do that. So that's why a lot of the branches are oriented in the correct position to get me to wire the full tree. Probably stood this way for about a month, so you can see these ficuses, grow and stick into their position really quickly. The wire was already biting into a lot of those thicker branches, and so it was time. So I'm going to be conducting a full styling of this tree today, wiring every branch, doing a lot of branch selection for what I want to keep and what I want to remove. And so my goals for this tree today really are to get the overall canopy orientation correct. I want to select my primary branches and then start with a couple of secondaries. You can see that a lot of the primaries have a couple of nice secondaries with even some further branching off of there. So I'm just going to, make sure I get the right ones. I'm going to try and get everything orientated correctly. Orientated. I don't know, guys. But anyways, I'm going to go through, start with the lower branches first, and try and get that canopy going in a more triangular direction. You can see from the top that it's ready for it. It's really set up for it. So I'll just describe my usual process, and then I'm just going to let the video play for a little bit and let you guys watch. Basically, I'm going to choose my primary and secondary branches. I'm going to be doing a lot of leaf removal for leaves that are going upward and downward and that are kind of skewing my view. I like to do this. I like to leave, a lot of people completely defoliate their trees so that they can see, exactly the branch structure that they want to get to, but I find that that's not really necessary for me. So I'm just going to remove a lot of the upward and downward facing leaves that kind of obstruct my view while I'm doing the styling. I'm going to remove a lot of the inner branches that are just either oriented toward the tree, shooting up into the tree, stuff that's coming off of the main parts of those primary branches. If stuff is growing in the shoulder or if stuff is growing up or down, I'm removing it. So I really just have those, primary branches coming off of the trunk, and then secondaries if I have them, and then there's not really much more after that. I might have some tertiaries to get started in certain portions of the tree, but really those are going to be much more further developed later in time, I'm sure, after I get these branches thickened up. A lot of choices are going to be made that are different in this first styling, especially with a ficus. These things grow like absolute madmen. So I'm really excited to just finish this first styling, get everything set up in an orientation that I'm happy with, and then let it grow from there and see how things develop. I think that for me, it's very important to have it in a pot that can control its growth, especially with a ficus, because things can get out of hand pretty quickly. And so sometimes, people will criticize for putting a pot in a bonsai pot, but I like to do it because I do have a lot of trees. I don't have infinite time, and I like to control the growth of my trees based on, the pot that they're placed in. So this one is in a pretty tight pot for the root base that's underneath here. I didn't mess with it too much. So there's a lot of original soil in the central root mass that's going to come out later, but it will give an opportunity for the roots to extend out into the bonsai soil that you see surrounding the root base. But overall, that's going to allow me to style this tree without everything going completely insane. It's going to help me keep control. It's going to help me with wiring when it's time for removal, that everything is not going to just, completely consume the wire as the branches thicken. So that's part of the reason why I like to use bonsai pots even in the process of growing, but I know everybody is not about that, but at least I'm sharing with you my reasoning why. So I'm going to go ahead and play some music for you now and just let you kind of watch the styling process play out. At the very end, as usual, there's going to be a 360 display of the tree after its final styling. I actually did go through after the fact and remove the lower leftmost branch. Talking about it on Reddit, it kind of had an Egyptian look to it. It's got a curve back and forth, and I just was not really interested in the way that it was looking at the end of the styling, so I ended up removing it. It moves the left side of the canopy much higher, but overall I think the way that the canopy looks with the branch removed is so much better. It kind of gives you a focus on the aerial roots that are dropping down that hopefully I can get to thicken up significantly, and this tree might end up looking very different than it does right now after a lot of Florida summers. So I'm quite excited to see this thing grow. I hope you enjoy the styling. I hope you enjoyed the 360 at the end. Please leave any comments or questions if you have any, and I hope you enjoy. Peace out, everybody.